Battle Cars is a 1993 game developed by Malibu Interactive, a branch of Malibu Comics that would later get bought out by Marvel Comics, and released by Namco for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a combat racing game set in a post-apocalyptic future, so basically we're combining Mario Kart and Mad Max. Rock and Roll Racing, which I reviewed in episode 29 of our story so far, used an overhead isometric view of your car, with lots of little sprites to show the car at various angles on the track. Battle Cars, however, puts the power of the SNES on full display by almost entirely using Mode 7 graphics for cars and tracks alike. While I'm not sure when Battle Cars began development, they basically took the idea of Mario Kart and gave it a harder edge. Although not an arena combat sports game like Rocket League or its predecessor, Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket-Powered Battle Cars, these Super NES Battle Cars can be equipped with rockets, grenades, and exploding discs, which can bounce off walls before they hit their targets. These weapons can be upgraded with credits, which are earned for every second faster than the deadline you finish the cross-country levels. I'll come back to those in a second. Similarly, car upgrades, everything from engine for top speed, turbo for acceleration, tires for turning grip, as well as jumps, shocks, and dampers for movements around the track, can all be purchased with cash, which you earn for each enemy you destroy on the cross-country levels. Those cross-country levels are your introduction to a new type of course. In the game, you race across the country rally style, defeating enemies along the way to get to your next racetrack. At the track, you battle a boss character. One thing I love about the gameplay is that rarely do the bosses trounce me. I'm compelled to keep playing Battle Cars because I feel like I was so close to winning each race. So close that I'm willing to play again. While the cross-country races are a race against time, the boss battles are a race against one single opponent. Every other car on the track is simply there to hinder you, but you don't need to pay any attention to them when racing. If you absolutely cannot beat a boss, you're given unlimited continues, and in a brilliant move by the developer, you can return to the cross-country track in order to build up more cash or credits and further upgrade your vehicle before taking on a boss racer again. Battle Cars stands head and shoulders above many other non-Nintendo racing games of the era. It was a year ahead of games that would use Super FX chips, but taking full advantage of Mode 7 allowed for courses that feel very much like F-Zero, with cars that feel downright three-dimensional. The game doesn't have an intro cinematic, but it does show clips of races in various vehicles that feel very three-dimensional, as sprites are rotated and scaled in ways that give everything more depth. You have a fairly large palette of colors to choose from when selecting your vehicle, and the designs of the vehicles themselves are very unique and fun to check out. The music, sadly, feels like an afterthought. It's just dumped in and plays constantly. It might change when you advance to a new area, but it plays in the backgrounds of menus and continue screens, and it just loops infinitely. It doesn't specifically fit the racetrack or even the beginning and end of races. It's just this strange, ever-present music. The sound effects also simply feel like they don't belong. Generic thunks and booms sound off here and there, but weapon explosions are lackluster, and taking out an enemy isn't even rewarding. Also, consider that there's no kind of ready, set, go tone to begin the race, and no fanfare at the end of the race. It just feels empty, considering the manual suggests that battle car racers are the most popular entertainers in the future. But that, I will say, is one thing that Battle Cars has going for it: story. Okay, maybe not so much in the game, as you're kind of thrown into your first race, but there is a nugget of something there, and it builds. Let's see how the manual sets things up. The excess of the Industrial Revolution was doomed to haunt the Earth. As the 20th century faded into the 21st, the planet's largest economies were focused on the service industry. Overpopulation and few environmental quality regulations created an exodus of traditional industry to less developed nations. Fueled with cheap labor, factories churned out consumer products with obsolete, dirty machines purchased from the former industrial giants. Each year, billions of metric tons of pollution were dumped into the biosphere. Global warming increased exponentially. As the 21st century progressed, the greenhouse effect began to take its ugly toll. The polar ice caps melted at an ever-increasing rate. International tensions rose with the water level at a time when the world had never been better armed. The end of the Cold War over 100 years earlier saw huge arsenals of weapons sold at fire sale prices. Even the smallest of countries could afford weapons capable of mass destruction. As coastal cities sank under the oceans, people demanded action. Politically, the easiest solution was to point fingers and launch attacks against environmental terrorists. Between global warming and global warfare, the Earth was forever changed. The start of the 22nd century saw a true New World Order. Survivors of the devastation lived in city-states. Technologically sophisticated and jaded by years of war, the people demanded a new sport for their new age. Battle cars. Technology, aggression, battle cars. Afforded the same popularity earlier centuries had given artists or pop musicians, battle car drivers are heroes. Their only rule is to win. As you can see, there is some oddly familiar world building going on in the manual, and the boss characters all have a little something to say as you meet each one of them in the game. Finding out that this game goes off-world and to other planets is fascinating and exciting, although admittedly the cross-country races don't make as much sense there. But still, even those cross-country races have more to them than meets the eye. I noticed when barely completing some of those races or running low on time, I could get picked up by some sort of UFO. What's that about? Is that how I travel between planets? Well, a closer look in the manual explains that these are PeaceNet satellites, and that as part of a post-World War III effort to minimize the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, these crafts were designed to intercept drivers of battle cars and war machines. It's a fascinating little touch, and if players never dove into the manual, they might not know about it. While a lot of the backstory comes from the manual, as they mostly did back in these days, there's definitely an idea firmly planted in the minds of players, and it's only expanded upon as you race and battle your way through the ranks. Although Battle Cars isn't perfect, it's a game I rented a lot in my childhood, and one that I'm happy that I finally got to take a peek under the hood of our story so far. Wow, hey everybody, thanks for watching episode number 80 of Our Story So Far TV. My name is Garrett. You can always find me over on Twitter at NewAngel, that's NUANGEL. If you like the video, leave it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, or give it a thumbs down if you have some problem with it, but please let me know what it is, otherwise I won't know how to improve things. If you like this episode, and I hope that you did, and you want to watch some more, feel free to go to ourstorysofar.tv or just look for playlists here on YouTube. It looks like for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be trying to do a new episode every single week, so come back next Friday for the next one. Until next time, take care of yourself.